I mean, it doesn't take that long. When you get the right head coach, you get a Mike Vrabel, you get a Sean Payton, you get a Ben Johnson, you get a Liam Cohen. It doesn't take that long. There's so much mediocrity in so many industries. Excellence rises, and it looks different. Here's all I know. Last year, the Bears were 29th in big plays with the same quarterback, DJ Moore. Yeah, had that too. And now they're second. My bad, first. They've gotten better at everything. Getting the right coach does not guarantee Super Bowls. Most reasonable people understand that. But it does guarantee an identity. The Patriots have one. The Bears have one. The Jags have one. It guarantees you'll get the most. You'll squeeze the most out of your roster. This is largely last year's roster with a better guard, center, guard combo up front. Yet the defense now is number one in takeaways, number two in rushing. It's not like DeAndre Swift wasn't there last year. It just doesn't take that long. And you'll find a common thread with the really good coaches. They're hard on their players. Sean Payton's hard on Bo Nix. No pandering. Ben Johnson's hard on Caleb. No pandering. The friendly guy down in Miami, I think he seems like a great guy. I don't need hugs and pandering and kisses and rainbows and birds chirping. Be hard on your star young quarterback. Be hard on everybody. Demand attention. You guys get an off season, right? You get Mondays off, sometimes Tuesday. Practice games, 2 hours, 3. Be focused. And that's what Chicago is. Not only the big picture stuff, they're just better at what their roster allows them to be better at. And I'll tell you, this Bears team is built for December and January because they can run the ball.
Yes, because they possess the capability to establish a dominant ground attack. Listen up, Chicago Bears faithful. Before we dive into the analysis, a quick but crucial request. Please remember to subscribe and watch this video in its entirety. Doing so is, without question, the most effective way to support the growth of this channel, enabling me to continue creating the highest quality Bears-focused content possible. When you take those actions, it initiates a powerful chain reaction. Viewership skyrockets, subscriber counts climb, and your support genuinely means everything to me. So, please, don't forget to subscribe and watch the full video. Now let's dispense some unvarnished truth for the Chicago Bears organization and its supporters. Recall the beginning of the season when the team was encountering some early struggles, and a chorus of critics was eager to dismantle Caleb Williams' performance. Who was the voice advocating for patience, urging everyone to just take a breath and relax? That was me. I was that voice. When the Detroit Lions handily defeated the Bears, and the narrative shifted to, oh see, Ben Johnson isn't that exceptional of a coach after all, attributing all success to Dan Campbell and the Lions culture, who stepped in and said, can we all just collectively calm down? I did. Consider this past Friday, immediately following that game. I characterized it as a coaching masterclass. Some random observers retorted, it's not about coaching, what are you even talking about? And so on. Now, as Monday arrives, the entire football conversation is dominated by one name, Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson. Why? Because it is, unequivocally, about coaching. That is the defining element right now. I have also consistently maintained that Caleb Williams isn't even performing at an elite level currently. He's playing adequately to well. He makes some impressive plays, some fantastic throws, but that does not automatically equate to playing great football or being a top-tier quarterback. That is not the hallmark of Josh Allen's greatness. That is not what makes Patrick Mahomes singular. It is not the foundation of Tom Brady's legacy. Their defining characteristic is an extraordinary level of week-in, week-out consistency in executing the entire playbook, combined with those intermittent moments of brilliance. Caleb is still missing a concerning number of throws. He is not performing at a great level. I've reiterated this point throughout the season. Caleb isn't playing great right now. And yet, observe what this offensive unit is accomplishing. I've been highlighting this reality week after week after week. Now examine this most recent contest. In a game where your superstar, first overall selection at quarterback, posted a stat line of 17 for 36, 154 yards, a paltry 4.3 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 56.9 Passer rating, your team dominated the opponent. That, in its purest form, is coaching. That is schematic and strategic superiority. Now just imagine the potential when this team finally receives consistent, high-level quarterback play. Just consider that prospect. If Caleb Williams can simply become, and I want to use the most baseline, fundamental example possible, if he can reach a level akin to a steady, reliable veteran presence, this team would instantly become the #1 Super Bowl contender by a monumental margin. The gap would be enormous. What they have achieved, particularly in this game against the Eagles, is extraordinary. Converting 10 of 17 third down attempts, accumulating 17 rushing first downs and 28 total first downs. I am genuinely eager to produce the analysis on the Eagles' side when the time comes, because it presents such a stark, illuminating contrast in coaching philosophy and execution. For perspective, the Eagles managed a mere 2 rushing first downs. The Bears had 17. The disparity is not just significant, it is extraordinary. I strongly encourage you to seek out a separate video I posted, as I tried to avoid redundancy here. After that Friday game, I created a post-game analysis, and some responses suggested I was overemphasizing coaching. My reaction was to produce another video delving even deeper into the coaching aspect, breaking down a selection of the run schemes. The brilliance is evident upon review. You witness the meticulous planning, the flawless execution, the coherent strategic attack. It was a thing of aesthetic beauty, an absolute masterpiece. Furthermore, several weeks ago, I posited that the Chicago Bears could realistically contend for the #1 seed in the conference. I stated that explicitly. I did not hear that sentiment echoed elsewhere. And now, they occupy the top seed. This progression underscores why patience is not just a virtue, but a necessity. It illustrates why it is unwise to rush to definitive conclusions. When the Bears suffer a loss, or when Caleb Williams has a rough outing, it is not a signal to declare the project a failure. Conversely, when they string together a few victories, it does not automatically anoint them as Super Bowl champions. It is acceptable, even prudent, to exercise patience. It is reasonable to state, I need to see a bit more. It is permissible to nitpick and analyze critically. It is perfectly valid to watch this game and acknowledge this was a great team victory, but Caleb Williams did not play well enough, without immediately resorting to excuses. Honest, nuanced conversation that explores both the positive and the negative, without compulsively leaping to grand, final pronouncements, brings us closer to an accurate understanding. This is why we can have discussions about the New York Giants game, acknowledging they were somewhat fortunate to win, while also recognizing the high-quality moments and the demonstration of resilience. We can note areas for improvement without dismissing the accomplishment outright. It is acceptable to have a rough game and critique it honestly. This was not good. Caleb needs to be better. These aspects require improvement. The capacity for honest appraisal in all directions, praise and criticism, is what ultimately leads us toward the truth. And here is the truth, from someone who has aimed to articulate it consistently throughout this season. The Chicago Bears, at this very moment, are operating significantly below their actual ceiling. I have expressed this sentiment weekly. I believe Caleb Williams is leaving a substantial number of big throws and explosive plays on the field. He simply is. His current performance is far removed from what his ultimate potential demands. Yet, consider the results. They rank 8th in points per game. They are 2nd in rushing yards per game. They lead the league in big plays per game. They are 6th in third down conversion percentage. And they are the #1 seed in the NFC. In a typical season where established powerhouses like the Ravens, Bills, Eagles, 49ers, and Chiefs appear consistently dominant, playing at their expected high level, the playoff picture feels more predictable. This season, however, those very teams are exhibiting remarkable degrees of inconsistency, creating a landscape of profound uncertainty. Who are the Buffalo Bills right now? I have no definitive answer. Who are the Kansas City Chiefs? Their identity seems fluid. They might not even secure a playoff berth. The Colts are fading. Are we suddenly supposed to fear the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence? Not from my perspective. The New England Patriots present a compelling case. The Denver Broncos have a strong argument. Both feature very young quarterbacks at a developmental stage similar to Caleb Williams. The reality is this. You cannot place ultimate season-defining confidence in a young quarterback in the most pressurized moments. It's not a matter of ability, but of proven reference. We have no substantial frame of reference for what Caleb Williams does in a Super Bowl environment, nor for what Drake May would do. To believe otherwise is self-deception. You can possess all the faith you want, but in those crucible moments, it ultimately translates to hope, thoughts and prayers, as it were. Experience matters tremendously in the NFL playoffs. It matters immensely. This is the intangible asset the Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Eagles, and 49ers possess. Even elite coaches like Sean McVay have admitted to a learning curve in the Super Bowl. It took Andy Reid multiple appearances to secure his titles. You need to be in those high-stakes environments repeatedly to cultivate that comfort. This is the inherent disadvantage for the Chicago Bears at this juncture. Yet, paradoxically, this is the perfect season for such a disadvantage to exist, because the entire NFL is in a state of glorious chaos. The Los Angeles Rams just lost to the Carolina Panthers. The San Francisco 49ers continue to win despite being decimated by injuries. Will that eventually collapse? The Denver Broncos, also considered a top team, are going to overtime in games that frankly should have ended in ties. The Washington Commanders are playing with a nothing-to-lose abandon. Marcus Mariota, a backup quarterback, is performing exceptionally against a top-tier defense. The Houston Texans, who appeared destined for irrelevance after C.J. Stroud's injury, are winning games. It is an absolutely bizarre, unpredictable season. Among all the other teams clustered near the top of the standings, let's be generous and define top loosely as the top 8 or 10 teams in power rankings. The Chicago Bears possess every bit as much ability to win a Super Bowl as any of them. Would you grant a slightly greater benefit of the doubt to the Los Angeles Rams because Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay have been there before? Absolutely. That is logical. If the Philadelphia Eagles could suddenly rediscover their form, if they appeared to have solved their issues, would you elevate their chances? Of course. But are you in a position to confer that same level of playoff trust upon the Seattle Seahawks, the 49ers given their injury woes, the Carolina Panthers, the New England Patriots, or the Denver Broncos? No, you would not. On the other side, you might grant it to the Chiefs based on pedigree alone, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. But would you confidently bestow it upon the Ravens right now? No. The Bills? No. There is simply no compelling reason to do so. Consider this additional factor. If the Bears secure home field advantage and force an opponent like Matthew Stafford to play in the harsh, windy, cold, snowy, or rainy conditions of a Chicago winter, and you can simultaneously impose your will by running the football down their throat, that advantage becomes monumental. It is a profound edge. In fact, one could almost prefer a scenario where they enter as the 2 seed and draw a team like the Rams, who might have fallen to a lower seed due to the current compressed standings in the first round. The idea would be to stun them at home before they can settle into a playoff rhythm, creating immediate momentum. It's about hitting the ground running and forcing everyone else to navigate through you. The Bears are a fascinating case study, but to be fair, I could envision virtually every other top team suffering a first-round exit this year. That is the prevailing feeling. Super Bowl contender or first-round knockout. The Broncos, Super Bowl or first-round exit. The Chicago Bears, Super Bowl or first-round exit. That is the binary nature of this wildly unpredictable season. Examine the current standings and playoff seeding. It is absolute insanity. I honestly do not know how to make coherent sense of it all. And if anyone claims they do with certainty, I assure you, they are fabricating it. I observed a clip featuring an analyst, a former coach or player, confidently predicting the Minnesota Vikings quarterback would throw for 400 yards and stun the Seattle Seahawks. That obviously did not materialize. There is a great deal of speculative pretense in the media landscape. There is no such pretense required when discussing the Chicago Bears. Among all the other elite teams, they share an equal likelihood of experiencing a spectacular boom or a sudden bust this postseason. And that reality is incredibly exciting to witness. But these are simply my reflections. I would be absolutely delighted to hear your own. What are all of your thoughts concerning the Chicago Bears securing their 5th consecutive victory and ascending to the #1 seed in the NFC? Let me know your perspectives in the comments section below. I read every single comment. So whether you find yourself in agreement or in vehement opposition, let's engage in some dialogue. Let's have some spirited debates. But ultimately, let's ensure we are enjoying the process. And please do consider subscribing. We are in the process of cultivating a phenomenal community here and would absolutely adore having you as a part of it. My goal is to build something to which we all feel a genuine connection, something we are genuinely thrilled to be involved with. I believe we are making significant progress toward that objective. Also, please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely assists with its visibility within the platform's algorithm. Thank you so much for your time and engagement.